Hello and welcome to Revere TV. Today we're doing a roundtable public safety discussion. My name is Debbie Pesca and I am here today with former Boston Police Commissioner and now Executive Vice President of Security and Compliance at Suffolk Downs, Paul Evans. Also here with Chief Cafarelli and Chief Doherty. We are going to be discussing, as I said, some public safety issues now that the vote is only a couple weeks away with the casino with Mohegan Sun. These gentlemen have discussed these issues before, but now we're going to update them a little bit more. And I guess I'll get to the very first question. Gentlemen, what plans are in place to addressing, I guess, the bad element, as we'll call it, who will be coming from Boston or elsewhere, cheaply via the T? And those concerns have been raised because we think this could be more of a problem having an urban casino here in Revere as opposed to, let's say, one from, could be in Milford, where people would be driving a longer distance. Now we have the T here in Revere. Can you address that for me?
Yeah, Debbie, I think there's a number of ways. First and foremost, I think it's the whole intelligence aspect, a constant sharing of information, who's coming, who's going. That has to be done on a daily basis. I think secondly, you have to look at the legislation itself. The legislation gave the Gaming Commission and security personnel, police, some tools to work with. One of those is that if an individual has been convicted of a crime, that they may be expelled. So there's something in there to keep people who are bad people out, and there's also a provision that says notorious and unsavory people also can be thrown out by the state police. Now we currently have the state police, Sergeant Scanlon at Suffolk Downs, and on a regular basis they eject people. So you have that ejection. There's also the ability to trespass. Okay, we've been down to Mohegan Sun. They trespass people. People who go into the facility and misbehave are prevented from going in there in the future. And you know, there's that whole deterrent. When you walk into the facility, everything is surveillance. And in fact, if somebody does something either coming or going, they can be readily identified. And as I've gone around the country and looked at various casinos, what you might call the bad element is totally aware of that. They know if they're coming to the facility and they do anything, they're going to be readily identified. So there's a number of things in place that can be used against people who would come and either inside the casino or outside do things that are inappropriate. So I think the tools are there. And again, a lot of it will depend on the partnerships between both the police and the community, making sure that we're getting information on a regular basis and acting on it immediately.
Chief, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, as the Commissioner said, we had toured the facility, and I have to say I'm very impressed with their overall surveillance umbrella that's in place on the casino. It would be very, very difficult, if not impossible, to go through there without and misbehave without being captured in some capacity on film. I mean, you're literally breadcrumbed from when you come in the facility, where your vehicle is picked up, your license number is picked up off your vehicle, from the parking garage coming into the property, the parking garage where you go through ATMs, and without disclosing too much operational security aspects of it. You're pretty well tracked. So, and that's not just for to anticipate crime, but it's also public safety capacity to it as well. Whereas if you were in some sort of dire need of assistance, be it medical or whatnot, you're seen. You're not going to fall through the cracks. So it works both ways, and I think they have a very, very good security system in place. It's state of the art, and it will be even better when the casino is built here in Revere.
Even to the fire end of it, the surveillance. If somebody was to activate a pull station, something like that, a camera automatically goes to that location. If any type of detector goes off, a camera goes to that location. So there's a confirmation the camera's there, personnel go there, so it's a readily confirmed whether it is an emergency or not. Same thing with the medicals. Anybody that needs medical attention or has fallen, or there is some situation where there's a bottleneck of people, or coming into a certain casino part or to a restaurant, the surveillance is there to correct it right away. So it's a big asset to be able to have that.
If there's a fight, if somebody's getting hurt,
Anything.
right there, the camera's right there.
Somebody says they trip and fall.
Okay.
Everything. I mean, there's just surveillance is such that they can pull up enough information from their systems to either confirm or say, well, geez, that's not what we have here. This is what occurred.
Speaking with some of the folks when we were down there, the law enforcement folks, the security folks, it's pretty much known throughout the community in Connecticut that's not the place to go if you want to misbehave, because
Really?
because that's the deterrent, the surveillance that's in place, and the swift and immediate action is taken with that sort of behavior. So that's how you deter that, and it's working well there.
I know from the many times I've been there that it's a very peaceful place.
It deters and protects.
Yeah.
So I mean, by doing the deterrent, it's protecting the people that just want to go and have a good time, and that's the key thing.
Now, for the people coming from the T, will there be some surveillance from the T? I know you said from the cars, for when they come in the parking lot, but coming from the T, will there be a walkway? Will there be something from the T that's hooked right into the casino? Am I correct?
It will be, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And surveillance cameras will be on the private property, right up to the border of it. So again, it becomes a question. Anybody that comes and goes, even when they go off the property, it's a starting point. We look at, well, if something happened at a given time, well, who was walking in that direction that we pick up on our cameras? So in many ways, if you're visiting there, either coming or going, we're going to know who you are, and again, the ability to sit down with the various police agencies and say, okay, who knows these people? And if they have a track record, we'll be readily identifying. So I think the big probably strategy is the deterrent. Everybody knows it's not the place to engage in criminal behavior because you're going to be readily identified.
Great.
Now, bear in mind, with respect to security, as the commissioner said, the casino will have out on private property, but then that's where we pick up. The T has surveillance footage that we've used many times for many different crimes. We have our own cameras throughout the city, so that's where the partnerships come into play. When we all can work together, share information. That's how that's how I anticipate that it'll work well.
That's another great point, Chief Cafarelli. You have your own surveillance as well. So I mean, it's just
as well as the T. I mean, there are other agencies.
I mean, we have the skip days. Boston might have a skip day, and the T notifies us locally and the state police. Be prepared. We see an influx of kids coming in. They're on the blue line coming in.
Right.
Police down there. Everybody's ready for them when they come in.
Right.
Hi, kids. Go back. I mean, it's that simple, but that is the cooperation, that level of cooperation, and the surveillance equipment that they do have.
Right, and and again, that's and we'll get to that too, discussing your arrangements and your agreements, because that's how this works. Right. It's not just you at the track; it's this whole community in agreement. Right. And I guess this is part of it. What plans are being made for dealing with public safety impact in areas directly adjacent to the casino property, i.e. Beachmont, Shirley Ave, and I guess in a way too Winthrop Ave? Will there be Revere Police resources dedicated to patrolling those areas? And will there be police substations? I know we have one right off of Broadway, but will there be police substations established in those areas?
That's exactly the plan I'm intending to implement. With respect to the public safety, that's my first priority. Before the casino, before anything else, my priority is the citizens of the city of Revere. And I don't intend to stray from that in any capacity. In fact, I anticipate through the mitigation proposals that I've submitted that my staffing levels will be as such that policing citywide will be improved. Particularly neighborhood substations. I'd like to get one open in the Beachmont area, as well as in the Shirley Ave area at some point. I think they're needed. I think they've worked in the past, and they're successful on Broadway. I would like to expand that And through the mitigation proposal, I anticipate having the staffing to do that. In close proximity is Beachmont School. That's a consideration. We can anticipate the hours of operation for the casino being opposite of the school hours, but as such, the school is the priority. It always will be my priority.
Okay, and all right, so that money you just touched upon, the money for additional public safety resources comes from the 126 million. How much more does the city need for this public safety resources? How much more is the city going to kick in?
I don't know if I'm qualified to speak on behalf of the city, but on the police department side, I could anticipate probably a, what is it, about 35 to 45% increase in staffing.
Okay, okay.
There's certain equipment that I anticipate, and again, without getting into operational security aspects, I anticipate procuring some more equipment, as does Chief Doherty.
What Chief and I both talked at length about this and what our plan is, you know, what we think. We want to be able to have enough personnel that, one, we could service anything that goes on at the casino and still provide the exact same service to the rest of the city.
Okay.
So that our resources, whether personnel or equipment, are not depleted by the casino if there is a need at the sake of the city. So on our basis, out of the host agreement, we're looking for certain monies that will maintain that type of operation. We can respond readily to anything that goes on at the casino, but still have plenty of personnel and assets that will provide the services to the rest of the community.
And I think that's a concern.
Well, we've had incidents recently, and you know, going back, where we'll have an event take place that draws the entire available patrol shift. The entire patrol force working for the city will be at one particular event. That's exactly what Chief Doherty's talking about. That will not happen. That's what we're striving to avoid.
Right.
Is the casino drawing all my resources and leaving the rest of the city vulnerable. I want to be able to deploy and cover any sort of problem we can anticipate from the casino and still maintain the highest level of service for the rest of the city.
And you're confident that will be able to happen?
I am.
Great,
I am.
great. Discussing policing, policing agreements, arrangements between, well, I guess all three of you, I need to discuss this. The arrangements between Revere, State, Boston Police, and Suffolk Security Forces. How is that going to work?
Well, I think the key is going to be the communications and the intelligence sharing, and I think that'll start. If the license is granted, in many ways it's already started. We're starting to talk about how that would work, but obviously to make sure that the neighborhoods are safe, and there has to be a constant exchange of information between what would be Suffolk's private security. We have an ongoing relationship now, and a lot of it is we have very little crime at the track now. I think something like 5 crimes a year. Mohegan Sun will hire their own people on security. It'll be local people, hopefully, that know who the players are and what have you that we may have problems with. And then the actual facility itself will have state police who will be responsible for the gaming floors and any problems there. I think Joe's potentially has a Revere officer that'll be inside. So there'll be armed officers inside, but I would envision that security will be plainclothes folks, and but the secret's going to be how the interaction. My experience has been in going around the country looking how it works and talking to chiefs around the country. They say, well, what happens in the casino, they take care of. So when Joe and Gene talk about the extra officers they're getting, for the most part, 99% of the time, they'll be policing, extra people policing the community. And studies have shown that usually will result in a reduction in crime, more resources in the areas where they need them. So, but a lot of it's going to be is how we react on a daily basis, how we exchange information. I think we owe it to the people of Revere of every day. What do we have to be paying attention? What happened last night? If the folks have a concern, not only does Revere have to worry about that, but Mohegan Sun has to worry about it. State Police will want to know about it, and if there's problems in the East Boston side, certainly we'll be working very closely with the Boston Police. So it's just constant analysis of what's going on and communication back and forth of what are we going to do about it.
We even looked at the numbers, the crime statistics, things that have to be reported, fire incidents that have to be reported. And I was very surprised, based on Mohegan Sun itself and an urban setting that Mohegan controls, that the crime just really wasn't there, that it was something that would get people alarmed. There was more on probably the medical side, if anything. And what we're looking for is the additional statistics so we can have an analysis made that for a 5-mile radius out, so what other services may we have to provide, or what other impacts will be, as the Commissioner says, that we're going to share this information and be able to respond to incidents that are throughout the city that may be added to our regular role. And again, based on the incidents that we've looked at so far, or at least the statistics, there isn't a lot. And you have to understand we're going to compensate that with additional personnel. These people, not coming from me as the chief, but as a person, you look at it and they're going to invest $1 billion. They don't want crime, so they want to be able to facilitate enough personnel and assets that they're going to prevent any problem like that. They don't want traffic. They want their clients to get in and out, and that's what we want. So I see it as a plus for the city, because the improvements that are going to be made from traffic to crime prevention to fire and safety and medical, it's overall better for the community itself.
It does sound like, as you said, it sounds like Mohegan itself is putting a lot of people inside there to prevent crime.
Yeah, as we went through Mohegan Sun last week or so, they have an awful lot of people around, and they're sophisticated. Not only do they have people patrolling the sites, but they also have people watching the surveillance cameras, and the moment there's a problem of any sort, there's people right there.
Yeah.
And they're a good presence. I mean, they're suit coats and what have you, and it's friendly customer service more than kind of the law enforcement aspect of it. So again, there are a number of checks and balances in place to make sure that it's the safest environment there is, and I think the numbers bear that out.
I do. I was very surprised.
These places have millions and millions of people going in there, and the crime statistics are, you look and say, wow, very, very low crime statistics.
Now, you've looked, Chief, at the crime statistics in the surrounding city of Connecticut. You're in charge of taking care of us in Revere. How do you feel, I mean, do you feel them coming in that you're able to handle the crime that would come?
I certainly do, and based on the statistics we were looking at, as Chief Doherty said, most statistical upticks were medical aid and that sort of thing. Getting back to some of the partnerships we have with these agencies, state and Boston, we work with them now. I anticipate that to be even a stronger bond in moving forward. We work with them on other various investigations, case-by-case basis. But with this casino, we'll be working together far more intimately. Even speaking with one of the gentlemen running the surveillance cameras in Mohegan Sun, they rely on the people watching the screens they actually rely on them more than the facial recognition technology they have. The people watching the screens are better than the technology, and that says a lot. And that says a lot about the level of sophistication they're bringing to the table. So I expect we'll be able to address any problems we got coming out of the casino. One of my biggest concerns would have been basically a target-rich environment. We got people coming from out of the city coming to that might be victimized when they get here. And again, relying on technology at hand, every square inch of the parking garage is virtually covered by camera. And that's the deterrent that I'm counting on.
It sounds like you guys have it all covered. It really, really does. I have nothing else to ask you. I think you guys did a wonderful job and you covered it. Chief, you brought up a good point about medical issues,
yep.
And I think one of the things I see as a trend with the casinos is there might be a little bit of an elderly population
Correct.
going in there, and that might be some of the reasons. And you feel that you'll be able to...
Well, we looked at those numbers,
yeah.
and like I said, there was a percentage that was I mean, I don't mean to say it's high, but the percentage was enough that it was noticeable that that was a call.
Yeah.
But it was a call. It's an additional call for service.
Okay.
So maybe there's an elderly population
Right.
that's there and things that
And
go
you-
on.
and you'd be able to handle it.
And yeah, and they handle it at Mohegan in a
Right.
certain way, and we'll ensure that however we set up the system here, that
Right.
most of it will be handled internally
Right.
without bringing too many of our assets into it. I talked to the fire chief down there, and he had said that whenever they propose certain things or additional fire personnel for different events within the casino and things like that, it's approved on a regular basis by the tribal council. They're very receptive to anything that's going to be more safer for their clients and for the casino overall. So they never quibble. It doesn't ever come down, and this is from the chief, that it doesn't come down to a dollar and cents. It comes down to what is supposed to be
Right.
done and what's right.
Awesome.
So you can't beef with that.
No,
You
you
don't have to-
absolutely
right.
cannot, and I know all three of you
Yeah,
gentlemen agree
yeah.
with that as well. Well, I thank you so much for your time. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Deb.
Chief
Thank you
Doherty.
very
Thank
much.
you, Chief Cafarelli, and thank you, Mr. Evans. And thank you for watching this roundtable on public safety. Thank you. Have a good day.